all your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Hey there, your yard took a real beating this summer. Luckily, Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard has your back. Just feed your grass with Scott's again this fall when the air is cool and the soil is warm. It's the perfect time to give your lawn a boost. If you do, Winter Guard will give your yard the nourishment it needs to help weak, thin grass recover and support root growth, giving you a greener, more resilient lawn both now and next spring. Guaranteed. Grab a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard today. You'll be back to barbecuing in no time. This is a Scott's Yard.
Hey parents, we all try to be extra careful with our children in the car, but then we get an important call or text. Remember, our children are watching. Make every drive a good example. Be in the zone. Turn off your phone. Visit childrenshospital.vanderbilt.org/BITZ to learn more about our teen driver safety program. Brought to you by Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt, the Ford Motor Company Fund, and the Allstate Foundation.
Hello, my name is Travis Williams, President and CEO of Academics and Athletic Consulting, focusing on educating and empowering tomorrow's collegiate athletic leaders. My passion is for the education and genuine concern and care for today's student athlete. It's the centerpiece of my life's work. A college education, both in and out of the classroom, is a truly rewarding benefit. For more information on AAC, you can go to www.academicsandathleticsconsulting.com. Once again, www.academicsandathleticsconsulting.com. Or you can follow me on Facebook at Academics and Athletic Consulting, or Twitter at Coach TWill24, or Instagram Travis L. Williams 24. Or you can call me at 404-542-6079. Once again, AAC is very proud to partner with J.R. McHenry of the Bossman Radio Show, covering sports and entertainment across the country. Please tune in weekly for informative, entertaining, and expert analysis on today's sports and entertainment topics. Thank you.
It's the game.
Folks, back in the jar of the Bossman show. You know, I talked about this site a lot on the show, earlybirdrights.com by Jeff Siegel. Got the man himself on the line with me. Jeff, how's life, man?
It's great. I'm pretty happy we're coming up on the trade deadline. Lots of content for me at Early Bird Rights, where you can find all your salary cap stuff, anything you're interested in with the financial side of the NBA. That's where you can find it.
Jeff, Friday I saw the news that the Hawks may engage in some talks with Andre Drummond. It made me cringe because it makes me think that Trae Young's politicking behind the scenes is working to make them want to win a few more games and lose draft positioning to maybe get crushed by Milwaukee if you make it that far to the 8th seed. And when the season's pretty much been lost with John Collins and going out with HGH suspension or whatever it was he took. But the issue I have with this, Jeff, is this. No matter if John was on the team or not, it's still going to be a good year for the Hawks. Who will win maybe a few more games. It's still kind of been a seller for the most part. So the idea of a Drummond trade or giving up future capital for this it made me shake my head. So what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, I think the point of trading for a guy like Drummond is for the future. That's what you're looking for. You know, he's got an option this summer. He'll probably opt out. And then if the Hawks are trading for him now, then they're going to re-sign him. They feel confident they're going to re-sign him in the summer. and get him on a long-term deal, 4 years, 5 years this summer, and then you sort of let him build next to Trae Young, next to John Collins, next to Kevin Huerter, and that's sort of your four-man core going forward. And so I think that's more of what they're looking to do. But if you feel confident that Drummond is going to like Atlanta, he's going to be a free agent this summer, and they've got almost $80 million to spend this summer. So you can they could just do it then, but getting him in the building first, making sure that he's happy, he understands what's going on in Atlanta. It gives them an extra sort of an extra pitch to give him when he becomes a free agent this summer.
Got you. Now, the trade wise, I guess it would be, if you do it, would be a combination of Parsons and Evan Turner, maybe. Is that how we look at the salaries to make you do Drummond? Actually, you could do Chandler Parsons and a first. Do you want to give up a first round pick, attach that to get him? I don't know how would you think that trade would probably go down based on the numbers?
It would have to be. It'd have to be Parsons, I think, because he makes $25 million. That's really close to Drummond's $27 million. It's close enough to where Parsons is the one guy that you can send out as Atlanta to just make the salaries match, because that's something that you have to do with NBA trades. You got to make the salaries match. So, Parsons out, Drummond in, but of course Detroit's not just going to give up Andre Drummond for Chandler Parsons, because Parsons is, he can't even play anymore. So it's not like that value doesn't work for them. So they're going to want something, especially if they're going to want to trade Andre Drummond. They're sort of looking at a future where they're not going to be all that good. They're going to try to rebuild. That's probably where that future first-round pick comes in. Atlanta's got Brooklyn's pick this year. They've got the Oklahoma City pick in 2022. They've got some things that they can throw Detroit's way if they want to, but it's probably going to be a future first-round pick in some fashion that goes to Detroit in this deal.
And I guess you could throw in Evan Turner and sweeten it to take on Snell's deal, with the Hawks needing to get to the salary floor, the spending-wise at least. Maybe Drummond and Snell for Turner and Parsons, and maybe turn it into a couple of seconds to avoid giving up a first, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, they've got some second-round picks that look decent. They've got their own in 2022. They don't have any second-round picks in the next 2 years, and you would think, obviously picks sooner are better than picks later, just, the sort of a time value of money type of thing. The time value of draft picks is a similar concept there. Swapping out Evan Turner for a guy like Tony Snell, that would help Detroit's books going forward, because he's got that $12.2 million player option for next year. If he opts out, maybe the Hawks can work something out with him. If not, then they can just have him on the books as sort of a backup wing, 3-and-D kind of wing that they can play along with, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish. Those three guys could be their wing trio next year. Kevin Huerter as well, of course. So, I think that would make some sense for them. That would make some sense for Detroit in terms of just getting money off the books going forward. Maybe that is a little bit of an incentive for Detroit to get that done. Maybe that lowers the price a little bit, because they're taking, Atlanta would be taking $12 million off their hands. Maybe that would lower the price to 2 second-round picks, or a more, a heavy protected first-round pick, something like that, rather than just a lottery pick from Brooklyn. Maybe it's something, a top 20 pick in 2022, something like that. All of this stuff is negotiable between, Travis Schlenk and Malik Rose and the Detroit front office. And then, of course, we know that the ownership is involved in Tony Ressler and Tom Gores. We've already heard reports that the ownership is involved. And, if ownership is involved, that means I would imagine that Trae Young has voiced his opinion. We got that report from Chris Haynes that Trae and Andre Drummond are very good friends and like each other. And that's sort of I think that was Trae's way of getting the word out that, I would really love to play with Andre Drummond. So there's a lot of different moving parts at play here.
Now, do you feel like Jabari Parker has played himself above the $6.5 million player option he has? I know it's not going to be much money out there this offseason for his cap space, but I think he's played himself above that to a mid-level guy now to get a full mid-level based on what he's done with the Hawks so far?
Well, see, that's interesting. I would have said yes probably a month ago, and then the last month has been a little bit wishy-washy. Now he's got this shoulder thing. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks, maybe more than that. So, between that and, of course, he's got the extensive injury history before that with the knees, that might scare off some teams. That may scare him into just taking the $6.5 million for next year. We'll see when he comes back and how well he plays and how he sort of shows that he's back from this shoulder impingement issue that he's got right now. So, I think he's sort of right on the borderline. I think the first month of the season, he was playing like a $10 million player easily. The fact, he was filling in for John Collins on the starting lineup. He was leading the league in dunks at one point, even though he was only playing, 20, 24 minutes a game. That was ridiculous early on because he and Trey just had that synergy that was making the two of them work so well together. Parker's fallen off a little bit in recent weeks, and then the shoulder thing. So, I think it's going to take the last couple months of the season for him to sort of make that decision whether he's going to pick up that $6.5 million or not.
And Jeff, I read an article from Jeff Schultz of The Athletic talking to Travis Lincoln, where Travis Lincoln said that he aired and instructing the roster that he doesn't give them a voice. But what is Vince Carter? He's always got in the league. That's not a voice to make them get in line. I didn't quite get that comment from Travis Lincoln at all when he said that to Jeff Schultz.
I mean, I think the thing with Vince was that last year he was such a big part of the rotation and he was such a big part of the team and he was playing well. Like, he was hitting his shots. He was defending as well as can be expected for his age. He was a big part of the team. He had the respect of the young guys coming in. Now it's sort of, I think he's taken a big step back this year. It was bound to happen eventually. It happens to everybody, and it happened to him at this point in his career. The shot's not going down as much. The defense has kind of fallen off a cliff for him. He can't really stay in front of anybody anymore. So it becomes more difficult for him to be the voice if he's not playing every night, if he's not playing consistent minutes, if he's not playing well. The fact that Trey has sort of taken this leap forward into clearly being the team's sort of superstar that they're building around, he gets more, he becomes more of a leader in the locker room. Is he ready for that? He's 20 years old, but can he really do that? Certainly the additions, the other veteran additions that they've made, that's what I would say has really hurt them the most is like swapping out a guy like Dwayne Dedmon, who was beloved in the locker room, really funny guy, had everybody rolling all the time. And a guy like Kent Bazemore, who had a rough year last year. He came out and said, I think in the Oregonian to Jason Quick earlier in the season, that he sort of had a rough year from a sort of a mental, emotional perspective last year. But even still, he's a professional. He's going to he's going to go out there and do his job. He's going to be a positive force in the locker room, even if he's going through some stuff. Guys like Chandler Parsons and Evan Turner haven't been that at all. The swing that Schlenk took on acquiring those guys and being like these are the veterans that are going to replace the outgoing veterans, that just hasn't worked. Turner's been, in and out of the lineup and is really unhappy with his minutes. Chandler Parsons has, came back and then was not able to play and is not necessarily known as a positive locker room guy anyway. And then, on top of that is unhappy with his playing time, is unhappy with where he is in his career. So I think that's the biggest shift is, Vince is still their biggest leader, I think, certainly from a veteran perspective. But the difference between last year and this year has to do with those other veterans and then Trey sort of taking that step forward and sort of assuming that leadership position. But that's difficult for a guy who's so young, who, maybe doesn't have the command of the locker room as much as some other guys do.
Jeff, this I spoke on a little bit last week. I said this, looking at the Hawks roster, just on GP, without me even doing any in-depth thinking, I see 6 guys that won't be there next year, just off GP. Chandler, Evan, Crabbe, DeAndre Bembry, most likely Damian Jones, and Vince Carter, and Lynn's a toss-up to me. That's if I can see 6 guys I've been on the roster already, I know they feel the same way. Could that affect some of what we read about chemistry issues in the locker room or people having their own agendas because there's 6 guys, Vince does not really count, but 5 guys who want to have a career still who probably won't be there next year and they all know it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of this is that Evan Turner, what incentive does Evan Turner have to buy in? What incentive does Chandler Parsons have to buy in? Those guys, they're not going to be here next year. They know that they're not going to be in Atlanta going forward. So they can sort of check out a little bit, and that's, how you end up with something like this. Or they can have, a little bit more of a selfish mentality where they want their minutes and they want to play, in a way that accentuates their strengths, and they want to get out there and try to earn their next contract. Whereas the Hawks as an organization are moving toward those young guys. And so when Evan Turner gets 10 minutes a game or isn't playing at all, he's going to be unhappy with that. And I understand that from his perspective, and I understand that from the Hawks' perspective. So I would imagine that come, mid-February after the trade deadline, that Parsons and Turner, probably both, but at least one will just not be on the team. They'll work a buyout and get one or both of those guys out of there.
Jeff, is Laurie Pierce in trouble in your mind? Well, based on what we've been hearing, there's all these rumblings coming out since that game against Brooklyn about what trades outbreak and all these different George Masham, Sharania, Chris Haynes, and the Def Pen Hoop saying stuff. So is he in trouble by any chance? Do you hear anything like that?
I mean, I don't think so. I think that the not the ownership group, but certainly management has, they handpicked Pierce to be their guy to guide them through the rebuild. They know that this is what happens when you have a rebuild. Things are going to be difficult in those first couple of years. They've struck gold with Trae Young. They've struck gold with Kevin Huerter and John Collins based on where those guys were drafted. Hunter and Reddish are still coming along. I mean, I wasn't a fan of those picks when they made them. So it's, they're still coming along. Hunter is, got a lot of pressure on him as the number 4 pick, but he's been playing, better as of late. Reddish as well as sort of come into his own a little bit as sort of a more defensive prospect going forward. But those are the guys that they're building around, and those are the guys who are going to be there next year and going forward. So when we hear things about, Turner and Parsons, and, if we heard something about Alan Crabb being unhappy with their roles in the team, that doesn't totally matter. Like, it matters for this year, but it doesn't matter really going forward. If Pierce could just sort of weather that storm, get those guys out of here, and bring in some veterans who actually want to be in Atlanta, that I think that ship will right itself. And when that shift happens, that's going to impact how they play on the court. That's going to make Trae Young better because he's going to be surrounded with veterans who want to be there, who are buying into the system, who buy into being led by a guy like Trae, who it'll impact the team on the floor to the point where they're going to have 10, 12 more wins next year than they do this year, just because they're going to be surrounded by guys who want to be there. And so, I think the Pierce stuff, somebody's got to be in trouble when things are going as badly as they are, even if the internal expectations and the external expectations should have been relatively low. I mean, we've heard from Schlenk directly that he had, he pegged the team for 30 or 31 wins. If John Collins didn't get suspended, they'd probably be on track for that. And so they're probably down in the 26 to 27 range because they lost out on a few wins when he was unavailable. But this is where this team was supposed to go anyway. The roster was not particularly well balanced or well built. They knew that there were going to be issues, and these are the issues. We're seeing them, and they've been exacerbated by the fact that Collins has been out and that Huerter has been sort of in and out of the lineup throughout the season. But the veterans not fitting with the young guys, that was a known quantity coming into the year. This is sort of as bad as it could be, but I don't think that impacts Pierce's long-term job security, at least not in my mind.
Hey, I hear that, Jeff. I love talking to LP. Great dude. Love he always gives you a real answer. So he's better than what we have in Coach Bud. That's all I can say about that.
He certainly is almost the exact opposite of Bud in the way that Bud just never talked and still doesn't in Milwaukee, and just sort of he'll say the minimum amount of words possible. And Pierce will talk for 3 or 4 minutes on every question. He's really great, and he's been great certainly for the media in Atlanta.
Yes, indeed. Well, Jeff, thank you for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate you, brother. I love your work. I love your site, man. Early Bird Rights is a great site, man. Great job what you do over there, man.
All right, appreciate you.
All right, it's Jeff Siegel here on the Bossman Show, people.
Hip hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech, and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh. Family Grind ENT. Believe in it. Get it.
A gorgeous tan from Suntan City gives you an inner glow that relights the fire when you run into your first crush.
Vicky, who was that?
An old boyfriend.
Lucky you just tanned at Suntan City.
Lucky he's single. We're doing lunch tomorrow.
Won't be single for long then.
During Tour of the City, try all 5 tans, including spray tan, for just $4.99. Restrictions may apply. Click to buy now.
When you're a teen, you finally get to make some of your own decisions. Who are you going to hang out with? What do you want to be? Are you going to glance at that text while driving? Remember, a split second is all it takes for something tragic to happen. Be in the zone. Turn off your phone. Visit childrenshospital.vanderbilt.org/BITZ to learn more about our teen driver safety program. Brought to you by the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt, the Ford Motor Company Fund, and the Allstate Foundation.
It's maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer.
Tell me what you gonna do to me. Confrontation ain't nothing new to me. You could bring a bullet, bring a sword, bring a morgue, but you can't bring the truth to me.
Alexa, play Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
Okay.
Maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Yeah, it's your man JC, the host with the most, baby, and it goes down each and every Saturday night right here in the city of Memphis. That's right, y'all. It goes down at Clicks Sports Bar Memphis, baby. 3705 Malco Way, Memphis, Tennessee, 38125. Come out and join us, the Three Kings, each and every Saturday night for the livest karaoke in the city. Everybody gets in free till 10 p.m. Only $5 after. Great food. We got drink specials. We got all kind of games, man. We got the pool tables popping. Whatever you want, we got you, man. Come on out. Have a good time with us each and every Saturday night. That's Clicks Sports Bar, Memphis.